Dzień dobry. Moje imię jest Krystyna Wiek, otherwise known as Kryszka. I'm the youngest daughter of Bożena Terlecka and Henryk Wiek. Ja mieszkam city central of Christchurch, New Zealand. I was made redundant after COVID, so I'm trying to reinvent my life at the moment, trying to get myself back. I've been doing a lot of voluntary work for the community garden and an urban farm, helping out, and I've just started some part-time work with them, trying to establish a market garden, and which is actually very fitting from how we were brought up here on with Mama and Tarush being an amazing gardener and Mama being an amazing cook, and it's just that nourishment of food and gatherings of family and sharing food, nutrition, health and well-being, and nourishment of the soul, basically. Yeah. It's very difficult to say it. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult story. It's a very difficult history. I know that all of us children, I have 3 siblings, there are 4 children, we all have suffered through generational trauma. It's a very real thing. It affects our lives, it affects everything in our lives. You know, relationships, everything. The story of our life is that we are very proud children of 2 most incredible people who suffered extreme trauma and still had the courage and the strength to make sure that we as children, their children, knew the value of what life is and who people are and what is important, the value that we are all here together on this planet as humans. We all have the same needs and we need to be tolerant of each other. And war doesn't get anyone anywhere, basically. And the trauma of families torn apart. Growing up, it was very difficult because we had no aunts, uncles, our grandparents, Tarush's Rodzice and Regina were all w Polsce. Mama's kuzynka and Baszka, Marzena, and the family from Mama's side, which we lost so many family. Mama lost her parents. I think Mama's childhood was something that any child, any person, it was like a fairy tale childhood. Beautiful, you know.
Why beautiful?
She had such incredible parents who taught her incredible values. She was the only child, and she lived a very privileged life in what was available for her. She came from a very wealthy background, but she was never spoiled, and the values that she got from her parents to never think that you're better than others just because of your wealth. You have to look after each other. And one favourite story was that they had neighbours who were Ukrainian, and they used to have, she used to love going to their place for dinner, because they'd have, what are the pierogi called, Bashka? Chłopskie pierogi. And they were Mama's favourite. And yet, w domu, it would be like, what? I mean, Mama's mama was cordon bleu chef. And everything, the food, and wonderful story. It's always the food that brings everybody together. And that's what I cherish the most about Mama and Tarush, is here, you know, in their home. We grew up in a garden of vegetables, beautiful fresh vegetables. There was always enough. No one left here empty-handed. The neighbours would come. We had the Polish hockey team from 1974, was it? Speedway riders. Edward Jansage and Zenon Plech were in this room in the 70s, along with the Polski hockey team, along with the Polski sailors who used to come in, and they'd always bring vodka, and we'd have, in this small room, we had the, who was the biegacz, Bashka? Sprinter who died, he was in the Olympics, or he was just, we had so much fun. It's beautiful, because Tarush became the interpreter for a lot of the Polish people. And so growing up, we would go to the Speedway, and, you know, how cool was that? And that was my love of motorcycles. Started with the Speedway at 9 years old, and the hockey team. So we ended up playing hockey at school. The food, the dinner parties, Mama used to make the most amazing bigos and gołąbki and all this traditional Polish food, and it would just be, I don't know, just streaming with people and beautiful Polski food, beautiful, and it was just that hospitality and the essence of, you know, this is who we are. You know, the culture. Tarush was a soccer fan, rugby was it. So, you know, we didn't even play soccer. We didn't even have a New Zealand soccer team. Yeah. So that's just started recently. So to be brought up with such a and foreign, speaking foreign in those days to each other, not accepted in society, you know, bloody foreigners, don't you speak to each other in your language, speak English. The food, you know, we would go to school with the most amazing food. You know, sauerkraut and rye bread and beautiful, you know, kiszone gurki and yogurt, and the Jeju I'd be too scared to open my lunchbox because, what have you got in your lunchbox today? But it's all what you see in the restaurants today, in the cafes, the beautiful food, so nutritious, you know, just so beautiful and made, you know, at home. Mama was always baking, cooking, preserving, you know, kiszone agurki, vino. We used to make vino from our grapes. So, you know, we'd have bottles of vino bubbling on the counter. There'd be no room for cooking because there's vino. And, you know, neighbours, friends would all come, have a glass of vino. Uh-huh. And then, it was just wonderful. And my love of food and my love of hospitality and entertaining and, yeah, really was born from that. Mm-hmm. And I did fly internationally as my job before COVID. And that was where I really felt at home because I was amongst a lot of, you know, people who were very passionate about serving and giving and, yeah, lovely. It was beautiful.